Are you looking for a way to create a nice corporate promo inside the After Effects? Well, you came to the right place. Hello everyone, Alexander from thesecondunit.net here, and today it's time for another blasting tutorial about creating some amazing corporate promo inside the After Effects. So please take a look at what we'll be creating today. Not bad at all, don't you think? And it's more than easy to create something like this. In this tutorial I will cover only 3 different corporate slides: logo, description and video. But by creating them you can figure out the process so you can create as many slides as you want by applying the same technique. This is a tutorial for medium knowledge users of the After Effects, so I will not cover all the tools or effects used in this tutorial. I hope you have the knowledge about how to use them already, and if you don't, you are free to pause the tutorial and Google the answers. So, in this tutorial, I will be covering all the needed steps to make the corporate promo inside the After Effects, and I will do that just with the basic After Effects plugins. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so let's create a new composition. 1200 with 1200. And let's name it shape 1. Okay, now let's use rectangle tool, polygon tool, and let's create some shape. Let's use up arrow and let's position the shape like this. Let's add fill to this shape. Let's turn the stroke off. And let's increase the outer roughness. And let's duplicate. Let's turn off the fill and turn on the stroke for this layer. Let's select both of these compositions and let's pre-compose this into one composition. It will be a single composition, and turn off the sequence layer and just hit OK. Let's open transform, scale and scale down. Or let's go to transform, rotate, and let's rotate. Let's add some gradient. Okay, let's change the colors. Blue, and the other, let's put purple. Like this. Okay. Let's copy. Edit copy. And now let's go to paste. Let's rename the shape 3 composition and let's rename it to both shapes. Let's hit Alt key and click on the rotate watch so we can animate the time. Time multiply 40, and let's do the preview. Maybe we can decrease the time. $30. Let's take another look. Okay, better. Now let's open R, Alt key, time multiply 15. And let's add minus, so this layer rotate on the other direction. Okay, let's scale it a little bit. And let's change the mode to add mode. Transparency 60. And maybe screen. Okay. So we have something like this. Let's create another composition. Let's choose Full HD. Length 8 seconds. Okay. Let's name this composition logo slide. So let's create some folders, duplicate them, change files here. The other folder will be don't touch, and the third folder will be render comps. Okay. Now let's create another folder, and we will rename this folder to comps. Another folder, images. Okay, let's rearrange the project structure. Let's select shape 1, shape 2, logo slide in both shapes, all of these comps. Let's put them inside comps. Now let's import both shapes inside the logo slide composition. Let's change the position for this layer. Duplicate, Ctrl D, and let's change the position. And let's Ctrl D again and change the position like this. Okay. Let's hit P on the keyboard to reveal the position. Let's add some key. And let's go to the beginning of the timeline. And let's move these layers. Select all the keys and go to the easy ease. Now let's adjust the speed values for these keys. Let's move these keys values like this, and now let's see. Now let's make them more random like this. Now let's duplicate bold shapes, but first rename it to bold shapes 1, and then duplicate bold shapes 2, and then select shape 1 and scale it down like this. Now let's go to the logo slide and let's select bold shape 1 and replace it with bold shapes 2 by holding the Alt key and drag and drop it on the timeline like this. Okay, looking nice. Let's proceed. go to the composition setting and let's change background color to white. Now let's select rectangle tool and let's create some shape for the main title. Like this, okay. Let's rename this shape layer to title shape. Let's open rectangle and size and add key and move the key, and then let's go a couple of frames before that and let's animate the size on the x-axis, and then a couple of more frames before that and let's turn all the values to 0. Now let's move these values and go to the keyframe assistant, easy ease, and let's see the speed value and slightly adjust the speed value for these keys. Okay, something like this. Now let's add the stroke for this, 10 pixels. Let's select gradient ramp, duplicate, copy, and let's paste it on this title shape so we have gradient stroke on this. Let's move this layer 1 second like this, and let's hit the P to reveal the position for this. And hit 2 on the keyboard to see all the keyframes, and then Shift P, and after that add some keys to position and then animate the position like this. Let's add easy ease on this. Now let's adjust the speed values for the keys like this. Now let's preview this. Okay. Let's add motion blur. Let's open the transform and let's open the rectangle and increase the roundness for this. Let's add some fill for this title shape, and let's duplicate the title shape, Ctrl D, and let's turn off the stroke and delete the effect. Title shape fill and place it below the title shape. Now let's turn off the fill for this, and now we have the white fill and stroked gradient, 2 shape layers. Now let's create the title, use text tool, and let's use Open Sans regular, and after that let's type some text line, welcome to my presentation. Let's decrease the font to 80, maybe even 70, and let's move it to the right position, and let's maybe scale it. And change the color and move this layer to 2 seconds. And let's parent this layer to the title shape. And let's add set matte effect and choose title shape. Let's change the set matte to title shape fill. Something like this. Let's add eases for these keys as well, and let's edit the speed values. So let's create something like this, and now we have the background shapes and we have main title. Now let's select title shape and hit P to reveal position, and let's animate the position. Let's reveal the speed option. Okay. And let's Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste these two keyframes to another shape. Let's create new composition. Full HD, but let's change the value for the white for the 1080 and change logo here, and let's hit OK. And let's now create some logo for this. Now I will try to quickly create anything. It doesn't have to be the perfect logo. Let's add some text for the logo, like company, all caps, scale it up, and let's rotate the logo and let's position better. Insert another shape. Let's rotate this. Let's insert the logo here. Scale it down. So at the end of the title shape animation, the logo will be placed right there. Something like this. And now let's animate the logo. Let's move it further down the timeline and let's hit R and Shift P, add keys, and then let's animate it. Let's move it down like this and let's rotate it like this. Maybe even, oh, okay, let it be like this. Now let's ease like this, and now let's customize the speed values for these keys. And now we have but let's first create the shape that will be the mask for the logo. Let's rename it to logo mask, and now let's change to the alpha inverted mate. And now so actually let's move these keys. And let's ease them and adjust the values, speed values. Something like this. And let's add the motion blur also. Let's cut the beginning of the logo and let's move forward. New composition, corporate, promo. Okay, let's change the position setting to width to 1920. Okay, so we have now full HD composition corporate promo, and this is the main composition for us. And let's insert the logo slide. So we have logo slide animated in the shapes. Let's select logo slide and let's duplicate this slide. Control D and change the title for this slide. Description slide. Let's create folder inside the comps folder, slides, and let's import logo slide and the description slide inside this folder slides. Let's move also corporate promo inside the render comps because this is main comp we will render at the end of this project. So we'll open the description slide and let's make some changes. Let's select both shapes layers, hit U to reveal these options. Let's scale this layer down and select another layer and let's scale it up like this. Okay, looking good. And also maybe we can select them all and reduce the transparency for them. Like this. And now let's change the position for this one because it will be the background for the description text. Let's create another composition. description 1, and let's change the length to 8 seconds, and width will be 1080. Reorder this inside the change file here, and let's insert the text and let's hit auto and increase the size of the text and change the options for these fonts. Something like this. Let's move it on the bottom of this composition, and on the top we will add another text description. Let's slightly adjust all caps, and maybe we can use bold and position this description title like this. Let's hit T button on the keyboard and animate the key for the opacity, and then hit P button to animate the position, add the key and move the key as well. So now we will animate the position opacity for description. And let's select the description text below and then go to the animation present, text, animate it in, and let's search for the fade up words. Press it and add it to this description text, so we have something like this. Let's open the description slide, select the main title. So let's edit the position for the main title. Something like this, and let's change the title. This is my slide description slide. Okay. Now let's import the description 1 and let's position it on the left side on the top of the background shape. Okay, let's remove the logo. We don't need the logo in this slide. So we have something like this. Let's slightly adjust the positions for the background layer for the description to fit more perfectly into this design. And let's select the last keys from the title shape and delete them. And let's close everything. Let's move all the layers. So we leave the blank space on the beginning of the timeline, and let's insert the shape 1, select and scale it up, something like this. Now let's hit P on the keyboard, add the key, and then on the 1 second change the position and animate the position for this shape 1 layer. Let's add these ease and adjust the speed value for this layer, something like this. Okay, let's duplicate this. Let's change the position in the timeline and let's rotate so we have different gradient, and maybe position it better. Let's duplicate again, generate fill and add white color. So let's move all these three shapes on the bottom of this timeline, and let's see what we have here. Okay, let's open the corporate promo and let's insert the description slide. Let's adjust the position in the timeline. So we have first logo slide, and you have then transition slide, and you have transition into the description slide. Let's slightly adjust these transition shapes. And let's adjust opacity for them, something like this. Let's move on. Let's select the slide description and edit, duplicate. Video slide. Now let's open this slide. Let's select, change the color and turn it off for the transition shapes at the beginning. Now let's select this shape and select both of keys and change the position like this. Let's select the big one and scale it down, so we have something like this. Let's select this both shapes one and let's duplicate this composition and let's rename it to video shapes. Now let's replace both shapes with video shapes. So now open the video shapes and let's do some editing inside this composition. Now let's hit U. Let's turn off the expression for the rotation, so we don't have rotation anymore for this. Let's create new composition, media 1. Let's import the media 1 also in change file here. Go to the import files and then find some image. Okay, something like this. And let's import this image inside images. Now let's drag and drop this image inside the composition, media 1, and then scale it and position it perfectly. Now let's import the media 1 composition inside the video shapes. Let's select the shape 1, duplicate, move on the top, and let's use alpha, so the media use the alpha from the shape like this, and now scale it. But now we'll use the shape and scale it down. Let's adjust the transparency for this to 100, so we need the full transparency for the image. And let's select these three layers and hit U to reveal the keyframes. Let's select the keyframes and let's move description to the left. And let's write some different text here. Hard working. 24/7. Something like this. Okay. Now we have background layers with the image and the title. So let's create transition for this. 2000 with 2000 comp, and let's call it trans 2. Now let's use shape tool and let's add a shape. Let's copy the gradient ramp from the shape 1 and let's paste it inside the transition 2 shape. Now let's scale this shape and let's go to the video slide and let's replace transva composition, and now we have something like this. Let's adjust the position for these three shapes. Hit P, select, let's position all the starting keys at the right position, and now let's move them. Something like this. And now let's see what we got. Something like that. Okay, very nice. Let's adjust the position for the image. And maybe we can add some rotation for this. Let's do the ease for this. Like this. Okay. Let's go to the main comp. Let's organize the files and let's drop video slide inside the main composition. Now we have something like this. Let's select all the layers and move them slightly forward. So when transition ends, the animation begin. And let's see now. And let's go into the logo slide and let's select these shapes, background shapes, and let's adjust opacity for them. And now let's close everything and we have 3 slides with the logo, description, and the video file and title. And now let's save the file as corporate promo. Okay.
I hope you learned useful stuff about plugin usage and about After Effects workflow in general. Along with this tutorial, I will include the project files. You can find the link below in the description. All you have to do is to visit secondunit.net and download the project files on tutorial page. If you don't have the time to create your next project, on secondunit.net you can find lots of useful, amazing projects at bargain price. That's also an awesome way to support this channel. I hope this video helped you on some way or the other. If it did, make sure you give us a like. And don't forget to subscribe. And not just to subscribe, ring a bell so that you might get any future tips, tricks or tutorials. Please feel free to leave a comment with a suggestion what would be the next thing that you would like for me to cover. Also, you can find me at the Patreon and join the community of nice, amazing people that support this channel, helping keep this channel free for everybody forever. Thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, stay tuned and make sure that you keep creating. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.